Hey everyone, we'll be starting shortly. I'm getting everything set up before we begin, so please bear with me. Okay, that's all there. That's all saved. Close it. Showing up there. Connection seems fine. Sounds we picked up. We're good to go. So, hi everyone. Welcome to another stream of Apollo Justice Trilogy Dual Destinies. Today, we are taking part in the next case because last time we had finished off the murder at Themis Legal Academy. We found out it was the Marble Man. The Marble Man did it. It wasn't obvious at all. He had a cracked eyebrow because he was showing his tension. And then he broke his teeth because, you know, he had to have that. And then he got chalk everywhere. But, yeah, we found Juniper innocent. She now likes Apollo. And we are now, I think this is set after, but just before the first case, which is technically the fifth. You know what he does. You know what it means. But yeah, we're doing the next case, which is we are now going to a space station. No, well, not a space station exactly. Not in space. The station where the shuttles launch into space. The launch pads and all that. But yeah, we're going to see what we get done today. Apparently this is going to be a long case, and I recall it being one. It's a two-parter if I recall. So yeah, be prepared. But enough waffling. Let's get into it and get down to business. By the way, I might be a bit I might be a bit out of it because I only got up like an hour or two ago and only just recently finished breakfast or brunch or whatever. So I might start off kind of low energy, and then as things go on, I might become more awake. But yeah, I was half tempted to not stream, but you know, that's just me being tired, lazy. It's like, I'm too tired. I don't want to. Right, is it showing up? It should, but always good to make sure. Yep, I see it. Load game. Got a cutscene, so I might need to do much. Apart from the intro. The courtroom bombing incident. A terrible attack launched by the will of a madman. That incident perfectly symbolized the state of the legal world in this dark age of the law. It's like 6 p.m., yeah. Mr. Wright brought it to a resolution of sorts. Point. My finger point. Ted Tone was discovered to be the one responsible for the bombing. If only it were that simple. Somehow I can't help but think. That there's a darker influence at work. One that's lurking in the shadows waiting. That's why I want to review the trial that was taking place when the bombing occurred. After all, I've got more than a few personal stakes in it. The cosmic turnabout. Ready for the cutscene again, guys? Last time was just a preview. Now we're actually getting into it. The Ogawara Space Center.
1 hour remaining until launch. Please begin your final equipment check.
Check complete. Everything's A-okay. We're ready here whenever you are.
Everything was not A-okay.
Come in, Act 2. Come in. Do you copy?
What is the guy carrying anyway? It looks like a box. Or like a cylinder of some sort. The cylinder killed the man. And for a second then I thought that badge he had on said "Gap," which would have been funny. December 16th, 9:12 a.m. District Court Room, or Court Defendant Room 5, I think it was. Yeah. I wish I could speed these up, but it's like, if you haven't read it already, it's going to make it so then you have to read it until it comes up. Time for another trial to begin. But this one's different. I don't know who this is yet, so, sorry to bother you, but... Oh, it's Juniper. I think he called her Jennifer. Are you alright, Apollo? Was it making a scary face just now? Oh, hi, Juniper. Yes, I'm fine. I was just doing my Course of Steel exercises. No, I'm all ready to go. Yes, no, you. I'm sure you'll be just fine. Oh, I brought you a present from my garden. Oh, it's a thing. I can't remember what it's called right now. Is it right there? Is this a lotus root? That's right. My grandma says lotus root is good for your eyes. Just shove it right on in. She even says that if you look through the holes, it can help you see into the future. A loofah also works, yeah. It's for good luck. Maybe later you can cock it and we'll cook it. Cock it like a gun. Thanks for this. I'm gonna have some right now. Oh, my. Crunch. I can't make a crunch noise. Kind of tough, though. You can't eat it raw. But thank you for the enthusiastic try. I mean, you can. It just isn't going to be pleasant. Oops. She didn't think me weird before. She will now. I've got to calm down. Apollo, sorry I'm late. Hi, Athena. I'm glad you know that meme. You lied to me. Junie, I didn't know you were coming today. Did you come to cheer Apollo on? Oh, I get it. Your sly little thing, you. Ha ha ha. Stop it. Hey, Sean. Quit kidding without Athena. Why can't I read? Quit kidding around, Athena. The trial's about to start any second. Is anything alright? All set? Oh, Apollo, Apollo. When will you ever figure it out? Figure out what? Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. This is it. It's all over for me. How did I not see that before? Oh. Yeah, I just realized he's supposed to look like a rocket. I always thought he just looked really stupid when I first played this. I was like, oh, he just looks like an idiot. And now he actually looks like a freaking rocket and I see it. Oh. Oh, okay. Scottish Canadian. You're telling me to do 2 accents? I can't even do 1. No, you said that. Damn it, Shepard. I don't know how I missed this the first time, but yeah. Scottish Canadian. I'll try. How do you... Oh, they're gonna find me guilty, eh? No, I can't do it. I feel stupid. This is our client, one Mr. Solomon Sol Starbuck. He's a very famous astronaut who happens to be an acquaintance of mine. You wouldn't know it right now, but he's usually a very upbeat and driven person. The scene of the crime this time happened at the Cosmo Space Center. Yaksa. Back in high school, my best friend and I went there almost a little too much. But that's where we went, Mr. Starbuck. You'd ask about space travel and he'd launch into a story after story with so much passion. Back in those days, the man was 100% my hero. Canadian Shrek. Wow. Are you sure you're okay with me being my lawyer, Apollo? Of course I'm sure. I know you, Mr. Starbuck. I know you're not the type to commit murder. I think. Thanks. But... I'm supposed to be in space right now. I am trying to do the Scottish accent. Oops. It's so depressed, it almost seems like an act. The launch getting called off must have been a huge shock. I'll probably never get the chance to go into space again. I can't do it. Don't say that, don't stop believing. Besides, you just have to go into space again. Yeah, I don't think I could face Clay in the afterlife if I just rotted away in a cell. Why'd I have to make him Scottish anyway? Clay Terran, I can't believe he was murdered. Why does he look so cool? Why is it the cool one that dies? I mean, he was such a promising astronaut under your command. Yeah, he was a good guy. Always there to pick me up when I was down. No one loved life as much as him, that's for sure. He was always so full of energy, telling me, "You're fine, Mr. Starbuck." How could something like this happen to a guy like him, huh? I've never seen Mr. Starbuck so down. I can't believe I have to sigh so much. Or pretend to sigh. Clay's gone and I'm going to prison. I wish I could burn up like a shooting star right now. Mr. Starbuck, you'll be fine. What is it? What's with the yelling? I'll get to the bottom of this today, you'll see. And in exchange, I want you to go back in space. For you and Clay, promise? Does that mean you have lots of evidence to prove my innocence? Oh, well, about that. We didn't get to investigate the area as much as I'd like to, thanks to the police. I'm done for. I'm not gonna. Oh, whoops. What am I clicking on? Everybody thinks I did it. Thought I was gonna soar high like a comet, but I've just got to crash like a meteorite. No, don't say that, Mr. Starbuck! Don't count yourself out yet. I know it's hard to see a teammate, hard to lose a teammate, but you gotta keep going. And what about you, Apollo? What about me? I was just thinking, wasn't Clay your best friend? We need to focus on the trial right now. Are you all ready to go? Apollo. The trial is about to begin. If the defense would please proceed to the courtroom. A very flamboyant, Pat Bailiff, but sure. Okay, here we go. This is it. This one trial I can't afford to lose. I didn't get to investigate. Okay. For Clay's sake and our clients, I will find Clay's killer. December 16th, 9:55 a.m. District Court, room number 4. Court is now in session. All rise. Oh, there's the box. Court is now in session for the trial of Solomon Starbuck. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Why are you wearing that? Excuse me, Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor? What happened to your eye? I'm fine. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Are you sure I don't... I'm fine, Your Honor. The defense is ready. I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's been like this since yesterday. He keeps insisting it's just a sty. I suppose it's something he doesn't want to discuss. Nor should he, because it's a personal nature. It's of personal nature. It's nothing to do with the case. So, why are you asking? Maybe he's entering a touchy age. Very well, and the prosecution? Prosecution appears to be ready as well.
Silence!
Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. Hmm? Every time. It doesn't matter. The prosecution is now ready. But it didn't take him long this time. What's up with Blackwell? Now, then, I will give the opening statement.
Silence!
I'll do it. You will? What an unexpected surprise. This time I can't leave it to anyone else. I see. Something is off with you two today. You both seem different somehow. Athena's just normal. She's like, I don't know what's up with these two, but sure. Very well, Prosecutor Blackwell, your opening statement, if you would. It was just yesterday. The crimes in question occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. Ah, that famous federal research facility of all things related to astrology, right? Astronomy is astronomy. Anyway, a rocket was sent to launch from there. But at 9:28 a.m., before they could even move the rocket to the launch site, everything exploded, and they all died. Two explosive devices were detonated and the launch was cancelled. My word, 2 bombs? How dreadful. The defendant in today's trial is charged with both the bombing and with murder. Mr. Solomon Starbuck still hasn't fulfilled my order. For whatever inane reason, he detonated a bomb on the rocket he himself would be in. Even he thinks like, this sounds like a stupid thing to do, but I'm just going to be prosecutor, it's fine. 1 second. Solomon Starbuck? I recognize that name. Isn't he that famous astronaut? Correct your boldness. Mr. Starbuck was the pilot of that Hat 1 rocket 7 years ago. As you may recall, despite some interstellar trouble, his mission was a success. Some say it was a miracle he returned alive. I suppose you could say he's a living legend. Oh, I remember now. He's become something of an international celebrity, right? He even turned that incident into a movie and everything, where he had normal hair. Mankind's hope for the future. I've got to make it back alive. The Hat 1 miracle. Come along on a captivating space odyssey that will take your breath away. We got a real space pioneer in court today. Even heroes tumble from their lofty heights. Returning to the subject at hand. Ah, yes, the victim was one Mr. Clay Terran, subordinate of the defendant. A loyal disciple brutally stabbed to death by his mentor. Stabbed to death, you say? You mean his death was a result of the bombing? Correct. Despite his lofty dreams, the victim was seen as an interloper by the defendant. And so he was sent not into space, but to the universe which we mortals cannot see. Clay. I think I've heard enough. The case seems pretty clear-cut at this point. However, there is one thing I'm curious about. That metal box next to the witness stand. What purpose does it serve exactly? Since you are so nice, it's your coffin. Have mercy on me. I jest. It's evidence. Due to its immense size, we have little choice but to lay it where it rests now. We shall get to the contents of the box in due time. Ooh, I feel like I just lost 50 years off my life. Does he even have 50 years left? Inner monologue, Athena! Inner monologue! Enough jabbering. Bobby Fulbright's the name, in justice we trust! Ah, Detective Fulbright. Very well then, please explain the details of this incident to the court, if you will. Robin and Clay would get along? Because Robin is a potterer. On it! First, take a look at the pamphlet from the Cosmos Space Center. In it, you'll find a diagram outlining the overall layout of the Space Center. It has 6 floors. 7 floors, actually. Where's the first? No. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where's the ground floor? Ah, here we are. For a more detailed look at what's on the left side of this building. Take a look at this cross-section that we have the police created. See the launch pad and the main building? The launch pad is on the square building, and the rounded structure is the main building, right? You got it! The incidents took place in the launch pad 1, and in the main building's lounge. I'll be using this diagram during my testimony. It'll make things easier to understand. No, you are wrong. The first floor is the floor above the ground floor. America's wrong. Witness testimony. Hey, I just realized I didn't show the eyes. Although it's not cross-examination, so I guess that makes sense. Details of the case. Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom! Boom! One on the second floor of the Space Center's main building and one in Launch Pad 1. Thankfully, only the 2 astronauts were in Launch Pad 1 at the time. The 2 of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge. But after the escape, one of the 2 was found stabbed to death. A murder on top of a bombing? Detective, the victim was already dead by the time you arrived at the lounge, correct? Yep. Thinking he'd sabotaged the bomb, the defendant killed him right there in the rocket. Just look at this tragic photo. Oh my. Is that a knife in the victim's chest? Yes, Your Honor. It is the knife that cruelly ended this young man's dreams. We couldn't get any prints up of it, though, because the defendant was in his spacesuit. Knife. Found the blade, but no fingerprints could be lifted. Okay. By the way, Detective Fulbright, why are the victim's helmet and right glove absent in this photograph? We had to remove them to identify him, Your Honor, which you should have done after you've taken the photo, not before, because you completely just that would mean that you've completely disrupted the scene of the crime before you took evidence pictures. What? What am I saying? This whole police department in this game series is messed up anyway. So yeah, of course they would. I personally removed this glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity, after all. Yes, it would be very difficult to identify him without a face or fingerprint. Now, there's just one more thing I'd like to inquire about. What is this round thing next to the victim in this photo? Something so important to the victim, he took it with him as he escaped the launch pad. A capsule that apparently contains asteroid samples. While obviously valuable for research purposes, it has no relation to this case. I see. So we know that the bomb in the main building was the one on the second floor. Or was on the second floor. But where was the bomb that was in the launch pad 1 located? That one was on the rocket itself. It was situated around the central part of the rocket. Apparently, the area around the launch pad's elevator was set aflame. Or it was a sea of flames. I would like to submit the diagram report into the record. Boom, boom. Parked a fire on the second floor of the main building and the middle level of the launch pad near the elevator. Okay. The trial's just started and we're already in a bind. You get used to it. Besides, that's what cross-examination is for, right? What the 2 astronauts were doing during the bombing. That'll be the key.
Hold it!
How powerful were the explosions? Well, the one in the main building wasn't strong enough to bring the place down. But the room it went off in was burned black. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Due in large part, of course, to me stepping up to the lead to investigate evacuation. Wait, what were you doing in there in the first place, Detective Fulbright? I'm Bubbly Fulbright, hero of justice. I'll be there wherever and whenever people need my help. I'll go to the other side of the world or even the edge of the universe. I'm not sure he knows how far that actually is. But I guess I'll leave that one alone. Admiral decision, Justice Dono. Huh? What did you decide? Anyway, could you describe what it was like at the Space Center at that time? The bomb cut off the power to the central bank of elevators in the 3rd floor lounge. It was a pitch black in there, I tell you. However, the security cameras and whatnot were running on emergency backup. And how did the evacuation go? I immediately and heroically whisked people down to the Space Center's basement shelter. The basement shelter? Yes, there is an emergency shelter beneath the Space Center. An emergency shelter, huh? Oh, here it is. It's at the bottom of the diagram. The Space Center is pretty impressive to have its own shelter. The power outage and evacuation seems related to the murder at this point. Guess I'll leave that aside for now. Being serious, I remember not liking Blackwell originally, but I do enjoy Apollo and Blackwell interactions. I'm trying to think what I first thought of him. I thought he was cool, but I did think that he was a bit too edgy at times, like he was pushing his persona too far. But playing it now, it's fine. I think it's because I've experienced much worse than this now, so I'm like, yeah, this is not bad, actually. So there were 2 explosions in total, correct? Yep, that's right.
Hold it!
Let me get this straight. Mr. Starbuck rigged a rocket he was going to board with explosives. Huh? What are you talking about? If the defendant really did plant the bomb on his own rocket, he'd get caught in the explosion as well. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Why not? It's literally the first thing you would think of. Fine. Simpleton for a simpleton. Oh, right. The motive. Understood. The defendant actually had astrophobia. Astrophobia? What's that? A fear of space, naturally. Just the thought of space can cause the afflicted to freeze up. And so, in his terror, the defendant found a way to stop the launch at the last minute. That's absurd. Unfortunately for you, we have evidence. Take a look at these. What are they? These are anti-anxiety tablets we found among the defendant's possession. Apparently, he was taking them in secret to quell his fear. There are multitude of problems with the rocket Mr. Starbuck rode 7 years ago. Rumor has it he threatened to crash a number of times as well. That was, of course, very traumatic for Mr. Starbuck.
Objection!
But that doesn't mean he'd go as far as to blow up his own ship. Exactly. Especially it would be extremely hard to just get a bomb. Oh, excuse me. To get bombs like that.
Silence!
The defendant couldn't bear to mar his good name now, could he? Not after the media had branded him Sol Starbuck, a space pioneer extraordinaire. Given these conditions, the defendant would hardly run away like some base mutt. What, so that's why you're thinking he resorted to the bombing? Naturally, he constructed this act of sabotage in an attempt to blow up the space center, which would effectively abort the launch, but spare his reputation. Now, I'm sure you understand why we have to bring justice down on this atrocious criminal. Because of his anxiety, he decided to blow up a ship that he was on, which would probably spike his anxiety, but you know, we're stupid.
Hold it!
Are you sure it was only the two of them? It was just before the spaceship was set to launch, so of course it was only those two. Well, there could have been somebody else inside that rocket.
Silence!
The notion of a third party in Launchpad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. And allow me to state up in front that there are precious few with clearance to do so. Fingerprint recognition device? Sounds like a futuristic and complex as a space center. Actually, it's not as amazing as you'd think, Your Honor. Take a look at this photo. This is the door to the lounge with the fingerprint lock. Only personnel whose fingerprints are registered can pass through. I see. This is very different from what I had in mind. And is there a record of the number of people who passed through the door yesterday? That's a good question, Judge. Hey, look at you. Using your brain. Yes, there were only 3. The defendant, the victim, and the director of the Space Center, Yuri Kosmos. Yuri Gagarin. And doesn't that mean that it's possible the director is the one who did it? Not a chance. He was in the main building when the bombs exploded at 9:28. Doing his job directing the launch. Besides having an alibi, he has no motive for committing these senseless acts. He has a point. I guess the director can be considered a suspect then. Can't be. Biometric door lock operated by fingerprint recognition. Only the defendant, the victim, and the Space Center director had access. Didn't call Aura Yuri now. I'm thinking about it. He's named up for a Russian cosmonaut. Yeah, that's why I said Yuri Gagarin. Because it's kind of obvious with that one.
Hold it!
So while it would appear that the pair barely escaped their lives, in actuality, one of them had already been murdered inside the rocket. That's the angle the prosecution wants to push, correct? You got it. In fact, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. If the victim had been alive, he would have been sure tried to stop the bombing. Is there a chance that Mr. Terran could have been killed before he boarded the rocket? They were both alive and well at boarding time and embarked under their own power. Their hearts full of hopes and dreams for space. And then both of their hopes and dreams were dashed. If I may continue my explanation, after the evacuation order was given, the defendant made his escape, carrying the victim to make it look like a rescue. And then he stabbed him so then it would make it look like he murdered someone. Do you see the logic in this? Like, this is so stupid. Like, oh yes, the guy carried the unconscious man to the lounge and then he collapsed. But he woke up and then stabbed him and then just stayed in the room. You know? He just made it, he just stood there and then just got arrested because apparently it makes sense that he would be the one that did it.
Hold it!
And who was the first to find the victim? Actually, there were two of them. The Space Center Director, Yuri Cosmos, and Detective Candace Arm. Candace Arm, fill in your mouth. One of them was a detective. Yep, Detective Arm specializes in bombings, you see. She and the director were ordered to the evacuation following the explosions. They were also worried about the astronauts, so they hurried over to the boarding lounge. That's when they discovered the victim along with the defendant. Two witnesses, huh? And one of them is a detective. I doubt either of them would have had anything to say that would help me. I think that pretty much covers the details of the case. They're grasping at straws because this whole case is complicated. I mean, if you think about it, a guy was able to get a really complex explosive device. Not just one, two of them. One on the rocket, one on the lower level. And then he planted it on the shuttle and somehow managed to kill the guy without being seen and blame it on a guy that was in the same room. You know, it's not... It may be complicated purely because people in this world don't seem to think things through. I think that pretty much covers the details of the case. Only the victim and the defendant were on the launch pad when the former was killed. If this is the truth, then only Mr. Starbuck could have carried out this crime. What a little I could get out of him only hurt my case. Justice Dono. Foolish is the foolish. Foolish is the warrior who rushes headlong into battle. I was about to go like Francisca and be like, foolish fool who talks like a fool. Logic is a luxury for Ace Attorney characters. It's true. It's true. Preparation is an essential element of battle, so I advise you to take a gander at this. Is it a DVD or a CD? It's a very thick disc, to be honest. I have never seen a disc that thick. What the hell? That is so chunky. What is it? Footage from a security camera as the two astronauts emerged from the bowels of the Launch Pad 1 corridor. The boarding lounge security camera captured their desperate escape. Now, I would direct your attention to what the defendant is shouldering. What you can see is none other than the lifeless body of the victim. What? Well, I mean, you can see he doesn't have a knife in his chest, so I don't know how you're coming to that conclusion. Order! Order, I say! This lines up exactly with what the prosecution has been asserting. I should have known Black Will would have had something like this ready. Apollo, how exactly did they determine that Clay was already gone in that footage? Ah, I see what you mean. Whether Clay was still alive at that point is pretty crucial. Your Honor, please take another look at the footage. Isn't it possible that Mr. Terran was still alive here and that Mr. Starbuck was helping him? Why, I believe you're right. One man carrying the other to safety. What a beautiful expression of friendship.
Silence!
Perhaps that's what it looks like to a one-eyed hothead and a dotard. but it only to make sense of the victim's dead body. What do you mean? Fool, right. Explain to Justice Donor. You got it. Ready, kid? If the murder had occurred in the lounge, someone would have spotted it. Anyone can enter the lounge after all. But doing it while they were alone in the spaceship, that's a horse of a different color.
Objection!
You can't deny that there's a possibility the murder could have happened in the lounge. All that video shows is a man helping his fellow astronaut out.
Silence!
And if he truly wanted to get rid of the evidence, he would have left the body in the shuttle. And burned alive. Buried alive. Your assertion is based on emotion. It's based on your belief that Mr. Starbuck would surely help his own disciple. But you have no logical explanation as to why the victim could still be alive. Are you blind? Whatever. Psychic lie detection, super sensitive tell spotting, hearing emotion, base logic. Unfortunately, Mr. Justice, the prosecution is right. Your argument is lacking in sound logic. Shut up! No one has logic here. You can shut up about logic. But it sounded perfectly logical to me. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further objections, I believe it's time to bring this cross-examination to a close. Objections? Well,
Hold it!
Your Honor, the defense requests a little time to think and regroup. Given the facts, I'm not sure I see the need. What is it, Athena? It's just... there's something that's been bothering me. If it isn't the defense is stalling for time as always. Very well, I'm being generous. You may have a small measure of time, regardless of what the judge wants. Yes! You have 5 seconds. 5 seconds? After that, I declare this cross-examination to be closed and a verdict to be rendered. Your boldness. Raise your gavel high. It's time for a countdown. Oh! Ready? We don't have time. Spit it out, Athena. Only 3 more seconds. Look, I don't think the prosecution's explanation is very complete. Meaning? Meaning there's something missing. Like, they conveniently left it unexplained. Something they didn't explain. You're right. I think I know what you're talking about. That was not 5 seconds, but sure. Your 5 seconds are up, Mr. Justice. Is there anything about the prosecution's argument that you would like to rebut? You to the rescue. The favorite part of the class case. Enjoy Athena over Trucy when it comes to Apollo interactions. Yeah, I do like Athena. Again, I like her as a character. I liked Trucy as a character. I just wish that she just didn't disappear in this game. Oh, whoops. Yes, Your Honor. Actually, there is. There is something the prosecution has yet to make clear to this court. Well, if you put it that way, what is it that the prosecution has failed to explain? They never did really give a motive. Well, no, they did. They said that it was because they wanted to... He didn't want to go into space. But then why would he kill his partner? Why the body was moved. Yeah, I guess the second one would probably be better. They failed to explain why Mr. Starbuck would bother bringing the body back at all. If the defendant wanted to kill the victim, why didn't he just leave his body in the rocket? That's what I said! Why go through the trouble of bringing him all the way back to the boarding lounge? Oh, that's true. I did not think we've heard that prosecution's thought on that yet. That's because they have none, Your Honor. After all, how does one explain something so illogical? The prosecution is claiming that the defendant moved the victim's dead body. He's being sassy. He's like, of course they don't know, because they're stupid. What if the entire premise of that argument is wrong? Then let's hear your theory, Mr. Justice. The defense proposes that the defendant didn't kill the victim. He was helping him. Fulbright, explain it to our sad friend here before I nod off on his monotone monologue, informing exactly why Spaceboy moved the victim. Huh? You gotta be joking. It's simple. Mr. Starbuck did what he did to direct suspicion away from himself. He wanted to create the impression he heroically risked his life to save his partner. And you have bases on that on what? Well, he's carrying him here, so means that he killed the guy, then carried him to make it look like he saved him. This is just such a leap in not fucking thinking. That's why he made sure to make it to the security camera so there'd be a record. At the very least, he appears to have achieved success with you and the old man. I don't know why we need a flashback to this, but sure. One man carrying the man with safety. What a beautiful expression, for instance. The average person wearing a spacesuit weighs easily over 200 pounds, and purely because he weighed more than an average person means that he would not risk his life. Saving the life of a partner who weighs as much while trying to escape deadly flames. What a dramatic sob story fit for the silver screen. Indeed, I was completely taken in by the humanity of the story. You see, yet the true ending is that all traces of this hammy act were meant to be blown up. Yes, and now we arrive to the thrilling conclusion, the third explosion.
Objection!
What are you talking about? There was no third explosion.
Silence!
Indeed, you are correct. But there is thanks to Detective Arm. It was she who identified and secured the bomb. However, it doesn't change the fact that the third bomb was discovered in the lounge. The steel coffin besides the witness stand, that would be a bomb transport case. We used that to transport the deactivated bomb here. It was found in the lounge. A bomb in the form of the most detachable toy. What? I'm making my voice crack. One on the second floor of the main building, one on the launch pad, and one in the lounge. The defendant planned to set off these firework displays. Fortunately, not unfortunately, the third was discovered before it could be detonated, for had it not, the victim's body and the other vital evidence would surely have been immolated, along with the suspect.
Objection!
Or the defendant. Good. Before you utter a word, know that the evidence supports me. Ugh. It's like he's reading my mind. As it is still ongoing, or undergoing forensic investigation, and do not have the evidence on hand. However, know that a peculiar item was found in one of Starbuck's pockets. Specifically, a bomb detonation switch. You found what? I suspect the defendant had no time to destroy such damning evidence. When the Space Center director and Detective Arm stumbled across the murder, so he thought to hide it in his pocket, which, feeble-minded brain that he is, which is a stupid thing because no one would just hide a detonator in their pocket. Ugh. No, Mr. Starbuck would never do anything like that. Ugh. Oh, that's a long one. Ah! Justice, Dono, open your eyes and see the truth. This appears to be irrefutable evidence that the accused set off the explosions. No, there has to be some kind of mistake. This can't be the truth. Still can't accept it. You believe in your client, come what may. And why don't you cross-examine the defendant himself? This has got to be a trap. It's like Black was controlling the entire game. Yeah, it seems like he was waiting for me to bring up this body moving issue. What do you say that? because he had just the right argument when I pointed it out. And to really rub it in, he had a decisive piece of evidence up his sleeve too. He was trying to shake my faith in Mr. Starbuck and break me down. Then making you cross-examine Mr. Starbuck at this point was part of his plan too? Totally underhanded, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Now let us hear from the arch-villain, the fiendish murderer himself. Famed astronaut Solomon Starbuck. So dramatic. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Solomon Starbuck, astronaut. How did this happen? Mr. Starbuck, you aren't looking very well. Will you be able to give your testimony? No. Well, unfortunately, no is not an option. Then why did you ask? You are being accused of the Space Center bombing and the murder of Clay Terran. Please testify to these allegations. Mind if I take this suit off? It's getting really heavy.
Silence!
It is not the weight of the suit that you feel, but of your sins. Prepare to carry that weight for the rest of your life. Banish me to the moon. I don't care anymore. Wow, that's super negative. Is he gonna be alright up there? He'll be fine, I think. As long as he doesn't totally give up and say he did it, that is. He said that's what he does. I didn't kill him. All I did was support Clay over my shoulder as we got us to the rocket, or out of the rocket. Like always, I took the elevator down to the middle level and headed for the corridor. Clay had passed out by the time we got to the order to evacuate. I didn't kill Clay. I was trying to save him. So you assert you did not set off the bombs or murder the victim. But I bet you think I'm lying, right? Why are we trying to make him Scottish anyway? Is it just because his name is Starbuck or something? I reserve my full judgment until after I've heard your testimony. That is not true. You've done it multiple times where you're like, no, he's guilty. And then we're like, no, wait a minute, he isn't. I'm sure you don't believe me. I bet you don't even believe I'm an astronaut. I don't think the judge doubts that. Who'd wear a suit like that except an astronaut? I will say that when I saw you in that movie, you appeared quite courageous. Though I suppose reality never quite lives up to fantasy. I guess I'm just a big disappointment. I really don't care what happens anymore. Oh no, he's completely given up. What a depressing fellow. If you were to join me in the clink, I imagine that annoying sighing of yours would rub off on the other inmates. Like how it rubbed off on Prosecutor Blackwell a second ago? Huh? That was Blackwell sighing? Mr. Starbuck's testimony contains a glaring contradiction. The question is, what does it mean? Even if Mr. Starbuck is my client, I can't be gun shy now. It's time to find out the truth. Wow. Is it me, or is the one with his with the bandage on look like it's a lower resolution than the normal one? It looks blurry.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is that the victim was still alive at the time? Of course. He was alive and well.
Silence!
If so, then you admit you took a man who was alive and well. And silenced him permanently with this. What? No! Black hole confirmed dead ahead. It's not good, Captain. We're getting sucked in.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, you are not in space. Please give your testimony seriously. It's just nerves. But maybe I shouldn't have said he was alive and well. It was more like he was slumped over. Those are completely opposite ends of the spectrum.
Hold it!
Is that the elevator inside the launch pad area? That's right. You usually use it to get it to and from the cockpit. That makes sense. So he was just using the route he always used. In spite of the fact that there had just been an explosion? Huh? I think Mr. Starbuck is hiding something. Something pretty big.
Hold it!
Passed out? Why was he passed out? Probably because of the explosion. The noise of the vibration were incredible. It is little wonder a little person would pass out. A little person? It's little wonder a person would pass out, right? I wonder if they fixed the model. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. What was wrong with it? Unless it comes up. Or it might be better to be like, wait for it to come up and then you tell me and then be like, actually, they did. I guess? Not that I'd know. I've been hit by a space debris. The main engine's on fire. It's gonna blow. Ah! Originally, the bandage didn't go all the way around. Oh. Yes, I see. I guess it does make sense that someone would pass out. Especially if the person in question is Mr. Starbuck. Anyway. I didn't kill Clay.
Hold it!
Don't worry, I understand. I'll make sure everything turns out alright. But everyone's glaring at me like I did it. I'll probably have to reassure better than that. How am I supposed to do that? Try to imagine how he's feeling and use that to figure out how to boost his confidence. Mr. Starbuck, think back to what Clue used to always say. It's time like these when he would repeat, "I'm fine," to himself. I'm fine? Yeah, I guess he did say that a lot. But even if I shouted Clay, well, Clay would still be dead. What's the use? Someone please reassure me now. Paula, there's something strange about Mr. Starbuck's testimony. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's a glaring contradiction. I just wonder why it is there and what it means for our case. But it does look like he's lying. It doesn't look like he's lying, at least. Guess I'll have to show some evidence. Because we know, I think they said that they... Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to present, not press. Because I think it was said that the elevator was taken out. Yeah. But second floor building in the middle level of the launch pad near the elevator.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, I need your testimony to be as accurate as possible. Was I not being accurate? No, because it's impossible for you to have taken the elevator down to the middle level. What makes you say that, Mr. Justice? Please recall when the bomb went off and the launch pad won. Also recall that after the explosion, the middle level elevator was engulfed in flames. Oh, you're right, which means... Exactly, the launch pad elevator would have been unusable. In other words... Mr. Starbuck, your statement is decidedly inconsistent with the facts. What's with the helmet? Ah! Mission Command! Mission Command! Do you read me? Come in, please.
Objection!
This is a Mission Command. I order you to pay attention. Stop this nonsense and answer my questions, Mr. Starbuck. My helmet! My oxygen tank! Oxygen concentration is declining. Request medical assistance. Oh my God. Mr. Starbuck, we are not in space right now. Please stop pretending you have lost consciousness and stand back up. It was blown off with Apollo's finger. I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot I was still on Earth. I feel like we just got a real glimpse of Solomon Starbuck, the astronaut. Yeah, he seemed more like an astronaut now than when he was doing all that sighing. Mr. Starbuck, could you please explain the inconsistency in your statement about how you used the middle elevator? I was nervous and said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I actually took a different route, I think. A different route? I hope you're able to deliver a straight story this time. I'll get right it this time. Maybe. No, I mean probably. Probably. It's understandable to be nervous, but let me remind you, accuracy is paramount in court. The animation glitched. Maybe. My escape route. Let's see. My escape route. What I said before was a mistake. I didn't realize he had a flashlight or a light on his chest. I only just now noticed that. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably, with the capsule and clay in my arms, I had to make my way down from the upper level. So you're saying you escaped without using the elevator? That's right. There's a ladder that spans the upper and middle levels. I used that ladder to get to the middle level. It's still surprising that you were able to carry someone down a ladder. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached the ladder, so we could make it there, escape that way. And the capsule you mentioned. I suppose you mean that thing next to Mr. Terran there? Was the capsule that important that you'd risk your life to take it with you? It almost goes without saying, but yeah, that capsule contains asteroid samples. But you hadn't been to space yet, so why would you take asteroid... How would you even have asteroid samples? You haven't been in space to get them. What? Therefore, it's invaluable as research material. With this spacesuit on, clay weighed a ton, but securing this capsule was also important. I need you to answer the best of your ability. Mr. Starbuck, please remember that your verdict is riding on your testimony. Maybe I'm guilty after all. I wonder if you can see the stars in prison. I bet it's more comfortable than a spaceship. Ba-da-ba-ba.
Hold it!
How could you mistake such a basic fact? Hey, everybody makes mistakes, but try thinking about the vastness of space instead. From Earth, it takes 40 light years to travel to our nearest neighboring star. You see, compared to the vast expanse of space, human error is insignificant. I wish you'd consider it just a little more significant than zero. Enough jabbering. Get on with your testimony.
Hold it!
Maybe? Probably. Did I hear you right, Mr. Starbuck? I didn't see either of those things. Mission Control, come in, please. I am turning Russian. An error was occurred in the system. Activate the emergency tin can telephone. Oh no! Tin can telephone ineffective in the vacuum of space.
Silence!
Stop this nonsense or I'll sever you and your tin can telephone. Alright, I'm begging you. I'll tell the truth. Just don't sever anything. Hold on, is he going to be alright? I'm starting to think he's not. Let's see. So about when we were running away.
Hold it!
The upper level of the launch pad area. That's right. That's what I said, isn't it? Granted, that route does exist. So to recap, you and Clay had... You had Clay over your right shoulder and the capsule in your left hand. Yeah, It's really important, so I couldn't just let it get burned up. So even though Clay was really heavy, I couldn't afford to carry him with both hands. I did the best I could with him over the one shoulder and the capsule in my other hand. I don't think the meaning of what he just said has hit me yet. You know what you have to do with that statement. Justice Donham. Yes, I know. Well, I've come this far, no turning back now. It's time to present some evidence. So Mr. Starbuck escaped with Claire in the capsule, which means it's just like in the footage. I can see why he couldn't run, though. He must have weighed over 200 pounds just by himself. Yeah, and he had to support Clay, who was another 200 pounds. Plus, he had to ensure the safety of that capsule. I don't think I could have even walked under those circumstances. Walking straight forward is probably about all he could have managed, or been able to manage. Question is, what do I present to show that? I guess because he didn't mention the ladder. So...
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, why don't you just tell the truth? The truth? Let's see. The Earth is blue. No, that's not right. So, I guess the Earth isn't blue? Yeah, that's it. The truth, Mr. Starbuck. The oxygen concentration is super low in this area. Prepare the emergency oxygen tanks. Mr. Justice, the witness appears confused. Please help draw out the truth from him. Mr. Starbuck, under the circumstances at the time, you couldn't possibly have reached the boarding lounge via the upper level route. Huh? Not as long as this was along the way to the escape route.
Take that!
To get down from the upper to the middle level where the Launchpad 1 corridor is, you would have to go down the ladder. Isn't that right, Mr. Starbuck? Of course. That was the only way we could escape.
Objection!
But how would that work? At the time, you were supporting Mr. Terran over your shoulder, were you not? And remember, he was in full space gear as well, putting him over at over 200 pounds. Well, it's easy to on the moon. Gravity is only 1/6 on what it is on Earth.
Objection!
But the space center is located on Earth. Short of being an octopus, climbing a ladder with an adult male in space gear in one arm, while carrying the capsule in your other, is impossible, wouldn't you say? Oh. So, Mr. Starbuck, how exactly did you climb down that ladder with your arms full? Mr. Starbuck, come clean and tell us the truth, now! Engineer, where's the engineer? Oxygen leak detected due to fatal menace. Evacuate immediately. Whee! What the? He's flying the coop. Help! I'm caught in the ceiling. Help? Anyone? Bailiff, prepare the cherry picker. We must launch our rescue mission at once. You have a cherry picker? Well, that's one way to take off while being questioned. I'd rather prove his innocence so he can go to space again someday for real. Why does he have a parachute in a spacesuit? That doesn't make any sense. Now then, Mr. Starbuck, do you believe you can keep your feet planted on the ground? Yes, I apologize for losing control. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Not that. Anything but that. What is going on? This isn't the Mr. Starbuck I know. It appears Spaceboy is prone to deception. Witness. Yikes. Yes? I thought your story odd. Perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Prosecutor Blackwell, please don't talk about that. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Did I already state that Spaceboy is ironically terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. For you see, the traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh, I sense things are about to nosedive. You got it all wrong. I told him during investigation, too. I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear. It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it. How could that be? Somebody must have slipped them to me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember. Because of the side effects. Yeah, that's why I don't remember much about what really happened. What? He does have a granddaughter, yes. Man just asked why he had a parachute. He is a pilot of a space shuttle. They do not wear parachutes for space shuttles. At no point does an astronaut wear a freaking a parachute, because there's no eject button. You don't just get out of the space shuttle. It's the space shuttle itself that has the parachute. I'm actually going to look this up, because I've never seen that. Yeah, I am right. They do not have parachutes. They do not have parachutes. They do not have personal parachutes. The shuttles have the parachutes. Like, they have, what's it called? The capsule that they come back in has the parachute in it. That's a parachute for the vehicle, for the pod. The astronauts themselves do not have personal parachutes, because there would be no use for them. If you jump out of a parachute from a freaking rocket, you'll burn up. You'll die, even with a parachute. I'm being like sidetracked on this, but yes. Anyway, order on the court. We can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, this certainly explains why his testimony kept changing. Why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? Yeah, exactly. It's funny that we're going on like a discussion about a guy wearing a parachute where it's not relevant to the case at all. It's just because of that one moment. I guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going into space. Maybe I really did do it. This brings us to the answer of our original question of how the witness climbed down this ladder with a dead body. It does? So what is it? Dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, Justice Jonah. So the body was simply dropped down out of the top of the ladder. Oh my, I see. And then the defendant could climb down with his free hand.
Objection!
Drop the body down? Who would do such a disrespectful thing? People in a hurry. Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. So you are capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. We literally did a previous case about a body being dropped from a height. And that it would leave evidence. Really? Oh, thanks. Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am, for the very fractured they fracture easily when struck.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and shrapnel would leave its mark on the body. Yet, according to the autopsy report, only the knife wound was found on the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning.
Silence!
A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being a heavy, Justice. No. It includes the latest technological devices that is made of the fabric of tomorrow. The fabric of tomorrow. Wow. What a statement. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer.
Objection!
Then shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should, yet through sheer coincidence. The knife slipped through the weak spot in the chute structure and found its way to his tongue. Wow, okay, yeah, sure. These heavy suits are very protective and are sealed inside so that no air and nothing can escape. However, this one knife was able to slip through everything and kill the guy. What? He got lucky. He was the one guy that rolled a nat 20 on his hit check and did full damage. What are the chances? You forget that our killer is an astronaut himself with knowledge of how the suits work. He's got me there. What would be better would be if he took the guy's helmet off and just stabbed him in the face. That would have made more sense. But no, they had to make it a convoluted explanation like, no, he stabbed through the extremely tough suit. Just take the helmet off and stab him in the face. Oh, but I guess because that would be too graphic. I guess that would be why they would do that, but come on. It's already a PG-13 or whatever it was rated for this. 13. Is it 12? It was more mature anyway. Stab him in the neck or slash his throat. Yeah, that works too. He's got me there. Now my argument has been proven. Space Boy killed the victim. Space Boy killed the victim in the rocket and then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded them. There's no room for debate about these facts. Yes, there is. There is so much to debate about this. If he dropped from a height, the capsule would explode. Yeah, sure. There'll be shrapnel. Yeah, sure. It would still get impaled into the fucking suit, even if it didn't hit the body. Plus, the gravity of the fall would still hurt the body. It would still, like, maybe break a leg or something, because they're going to fall like free fall. They're dead. So they would just fall down and ragdoll everywhere. Like, come on. It is clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. I don't know why I'm complaining so much about this case. Like, fuck. Guy! Here, the report regarding the astronaut's oxygen tank. Considered it my send-off gift. You're free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. The amount of feathers he spat out and cut up. I feel sorry for his bird. Victim's tank was ruptured with 0% left. The defendant oxygen had 80%. Remaining oxygen is displayed on the left shoulder. That's wrong, though, because we saw in the photo it was 50. Huh? Hey, this report is pretty detailed. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured. After the incident. The remaining oxygen was 0%. The tank belonged to Starbuck, who all claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured, so that it was after the explosions and after they had collapsed, and he was dead. Why would it rupture then? This case is not written well, to put it nicely. Yeah, I remember playing this before and I wasn't bothered by it, but now that I'm playing it now, I'm like, oh god, this is a mess. Let's see. The astronauts on the left shoulder, which shows the oxygen remaining. I guess this means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen in the tank. Yeah, you can see it's 50. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars are seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not half bad, though. What? Mr. Starbuck? What's good on Blackwell got him good? Spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then let's get sucked into a black hole together.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh. Yes, Apollo. You know, Clay really looked up to you. He said you were an incredible man. He said you'd never give up on your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that. So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Terran. For Clay. Now he's holding his helmet. You're wasting your breath. Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. The rain is gone. Mr. Starbuck. I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove your innocence. You'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. You got ignited the booster rockets of my soul! I'm on fire! I'm Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, the cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling me Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can't do multiple voices at the same time to make it sound the crown's doing. Lift off. Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it. You brought Mr. Prosecutor's Blackwell a grip over Mr. Starbuck. I called him Professor again, didn't I? I can't take the credit. It was all Mr. Starbuck. He pulled himself through. What is this moment? It is so weird. You simpletons are done massaging one another's egos. No matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I am but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Is that right, your boldness? Can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck has just to make it back into space. Happy moment. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. We gotta have this anime moment, which I have to say, this game is probably the most anime that I've seen in this game so far. We've had anime moments, but this game, this one, like Dual Destinies has it in abundance, like too much. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Now let's see, about this data that we just received. It supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. Enough of this farce, you boldness. Let's have your verdict.
Objection!
They brought on a different writer for this game? They did? Oh. Probably explains. Like, it's weird. Like, I liked the previous case, but this one is like... Prosecutor Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict. What about this oxygen tank you were submitted just now? It says that Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining while Mr. Terrence had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. Oh, whoops. You will explain what you mean, Justice Donald. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look here at the detailed description and you'll see what I mean. All in the intro was the most animal thing. Yeah, it was. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Because you can't read. Put on your glasses, old man. Yes, Your Honor, right away. This is the evidence that the oxygen tank report stands contradict to.
Take that!
And how does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is the part here.
Take that!
Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carried Mr. Terran. It appears to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client's tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen tank increased? I see Your Honor finds it strange as I do. It's bad enough that there's no contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my, you're absolutely right. What is going on here?
Silence!
I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining was increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. And what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it was the defendant carrying the victim's corpse.
Objection!
I'm gonna bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining should increase just as your rations doesn't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it.
Silence!
In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of this mysteriously increasing oxygen? You better not disappoint or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Oh, I think I'm pushing myself a bit too hard in that Blackwell voice. Sorry about the weird noises, I was gargling. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate and counter argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. So do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can. The thing to do at this time like this is to turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried clay. So this man with the 50 on his tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck. But if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have shown an 80. There is a clear contradiction between the report and the security footage. So what should I be asking is not why did the oxygen level increase? How? But what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Okay, that works too. And am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumption here? How the hell does he have a point? Oh, there's a contradiction in this piece of evidence. Nope, it's just a malfunction is all. Add more tonic to my gun. I don't have a gun. Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting. Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. Yeah, this is the only one that really explains it. What if it was the other way around? The other way around? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? I knew he meant gin. It's just, you know, it was funny saying that he thinks I have a gun that's filled with gin or something. As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out, this is where our base assumption went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck on the bottle lounge. It was what? Order, Mr. Justice. You mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Terran? It is the only way the riddle of this increasing oxygen levels can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%. And when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0. That's right. There's nothing contradictory about the oxygen level decreasing. This means Mr. Terran was alive as they made their escape into the lounge.
Silence!
How short of your memory, Ethan. You've forgotten how you yourself proposed. Even if the victim was alive at the point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me? Using my own quips against me? I will kill you. In truth, that we don't know. It's true. We don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we have proven that Mr. Terran was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. Two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yeah, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Sassy Apollo is best Apollo. Yeah. He's seen Apollo Justice and went, nope, I'm out of that. The testimony of these first two people on the scene. Score. Come to think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court right now. Bailiff, could you please show Detective Arm to the stand? Oh, it's you. I've forgotten what I did for your voice. I have an announcement, everyone. What is the meaning of this? We're in the middle of trial here. Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode. Explode. The bomb now? Ah, everybody run! I don't want to die. It said, I just swapped them round. Oh no, everybody's panicking.
Silence!
Headless chickens with a death wish the lot of you. Calm yourselves or all else. Come on, Apollo, let's get out of here. What about Mr. Starbuck's dream? And who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth forever. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, this is not time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna die. Come on, this way. Hey, ow! Let go! Apollo! Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet? Eee. Juniper, you alright? Apollo, no! Not that way! Ah! And that was the end of the series. That's where he died. Everything that's been up to this point has been a fever dream of him being in hospital before he died. To be continued. That's the first part. Literally all of the first part is just during the court, the court case, and that's it. Day 1, Investigation 1. Still Cosmic Turnabout, but you know. Let me just catch up on chat for a minute. Do I want my career to end on disappointment that Apollo Justice was? Yeah. I think that they gave him free reign with the story too. Headlocks Apollo. Yeah, I can see Athena doing that. Apollo died again. Honestly, I think his death is getting... I think death is getting pissed off. I hate this guy. He keeps coming in every Tuesday. All right. How long have we been going for with this anyway? An hour and 36 minutes. Continue to the next chapter. Investigation might only take like 30 minutes, so we could be able to do that. But you can end. But I don't want to be one guy. I don't want just one person to be like, yeah, you can end it here. I'm fine ending it here. It is a good spot because then it would leave things up for interpretation as to what's going to happen next. It's a long investigation. I think I recall it being long too. Because I recall that the investigation parts are quite long in this case, compared to the other ones. But that's about it. Yeah, I think we can end it there. So we'll return to game menu. Oh, no, that one. Exit. So that is where we will end it for today. We shall pick this up next week, Tuesday, where we shall see what happens next. Where we go from there, what we have to do. Like, I am unsure if he'll be still playing as Apollo because he goes all emo at the end of the first case. So it might just be a case of like, oh, you're now playing as Athena again, which would be great. I really don't think this should have been an Apollo game. I think this should have been an Athena Sykes game because she's pretty much the main character because she's the new girl. Literally. And her gimmick is used the most in this game. So I would prefer it if it was Athena, but you know, it is what it is. It's weird because like I had no issue with the game up until this moment, but all of a sudden during this case, I'm like, I can't not make complaints about it, which is weird because I recall liking this case before. I think it's just the intro. I think the way that the intro does it is very weird, and they could have done it a lot better. Like, they seem to have kind of just ham-fisted it and tried to make it like, here's the original case beforehand, or now we have to shoehorn this story in, you know? Like, I think it would have been better if it was like, if it was still in the space station, yeah, sure. But if it was more logical in how it tried to make things work, like I said, you know, taking off his helmet and stabbing him in the face or that kind of thing, or slitting his throat or whatever, it just could have been done better, is what I'm trying to say. Moved Apollo to the Maya role, so to speak, and let Athena take the reins. Yeah, because it would make sense. You would expect someone that is new to the job would get the most field experience as they could. You know, they were put in charge with the person that has had cases already, so then they get used to doing stuff in court. So they wouldn't have those moments like breaking down or not being sure what to say, because they would have a supporter there. The fact that they don't do that, it just... yeah. But it's like, it isn't until you said that it's a completely different writer that I'm realizing that it does feel different. Like, not just this case, but like most of the cases do feel different in some way. And I didn't know that the guy that wrote the original 4 or the 4 before this, kind of just left or stopped writing them, because that kind of sucks, because the original writer was what probably made those games. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's it for today, so thank you all for joining. Do you think it's because of Right 2? It's not how we do it in Japanifornia. They had to put Right because of the backlash Apollo had. Well, I can understand it. It's like, again, when we were doing the Apollo Justice game, even then we could tell that even though he was supposed to be the main character, everyone else was like at the forefront. Apollo only showed up rarely, and there were a few instances where he was actually the helpful character. But a majority of the time, it was everyone else that was doing something that was helpful. In this game, he has even less presence, but at the same time, he has more. It's weird. It's weird like that. So I get why they tried to pull Phoenix back because, he is the Ace Attorney. He's the whole reason this whole franchise is going anyway. And I didn't like that they kind of threw him away. Although, Hobo Wright is still really cool. Where his power is no bounds when he's Hobo. He came back for GGS investigation and the Leighton crossover. He did. Okay. PW versus P.L. is worth a play. To make Wright a focus to sell copies. Yeah. But, yeah, anyway. That's it for today. So thank you all for joining today. I hope everyone enjoyed regardless. As usual, like, follow, subscribe, do that bell notifications to know when I next stream. And if you like what I do, be sure to... Wait, what am I saying? Do all that. And then if you want to support me directly, there's links to Patreon and tips that are also in the description. If you do become a patron, you get your name added to the Patreon list here, where I give you a shout out at the end of every stream. And I greatly appreciate you, like I do with Hiroru Kuni and the Swordmaster 37. And we go to space and shout objections into the void and summon the great god of objections and law, I guess. Yeah, that's it for today. So thank you all for watching. As always, y'all take care. Have a nice rest of the day. I'll see you tomorrow with more Halo Reach, where we might finish it. So, yeah. Until then, have a good one. Bye, Sean. Bye, Rappertron. Bye, everyone else. Y'all take care. Bye. See ya.